Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas.
Congratulations on getting your diploma.
You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Welcome in to the Family Hour. Brought to you by American Senior Benefits on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Todd Riley and Jay Stoll.
Welcome to the American Senior Benefits Family Hour. Alongside Todd Riley, I am Jay Stoll. Harrison is back this week, man in the machine. Nebraska loses 15-14 to Wisconsin on Senior Day. The good, bad, and the ugly. Very apparent to everybody else. To myself, you can describe the game in 3 words. Conservative, mundane, and cold. Whatever ranking in those orders, you can do whatever you want, see fit for yourself. But Wisconsin, a great, amazing opportunity to break a losing game curse. And unfortunately, the same thing rears its ugly head. That's what happened for the last 5 years. You can blame coaches, you can blame players, you can blame whatever you want to. It's just a system in place, unfortunately, and that's what was developed over the last 4 years. So you cannot expect change unless massive change is done. And that's why either next week or the week after, we'll find out who's going to right the ship and Nebraska in the right direction. I believe the first hire of that series has already been made, and Trev Alberts, I believe in 100%, will make the appropriate decision.
You said something about the last 4 years, and it was so apparent. I was in a local restaurant watching the game, and you could just tell. Normally, in a situation like that, you're ahead. You've got just minutes left. You're on defense. The place should have been ripping the paneling off the walls, and it was almost like a funeral. You could get the whole feeling in there was, now we're going to blow this one.
It's all too familiar feeling with that, what's going on. Every Nebraska fan, they care, right? They're angry. You can say, I get over it quicker now because I'm used to it. But the greatest thing that the new coach coming in, whether it's Mickey or somebody else, is going to have is this fan base does care. They do. They're not Texas A&M who are walking out at halftime, emptying the stadium.
Oh, there we go. Mic was turned off. That place was sold out too, is what they were saying. And then you look at the stadium and it's like, I don't think so. Unless before half, it wasn't packed. There wasn't a full stadium in there by any means, not even close.
For those that say there's no way Jimbo gets fired, there's no way he leaves, there's no way that A&M is going to pay him north of $85 million. That's oil money down there in Dallas. That grows on trees. That's not an issue. The issue is the stadium half empty. The issue is people not buying tickets. The issue is with the stadium half empty, concessions aren't being sold. They're losing money.
Right.
It's not about just that $85 million. They're losing a lot on the side with people being gone at halftime.
You bet. Things like people don't think of parking, like you said, hot dogs, beer. Wait a minute, you could sell beer at a stadium?
There is times.
Wow.
Working on it.
I bet that'd bring in some money, don't you?
It's some good revenue. It's a thought process for later on, not now, maybe 10 years down the road.
Right, I digress.
Yeah.
It is where does mentality come in? And Nebraska fans are some of the most loyal. Obviously, how many games with a sellout now? But man, like I said, sadly, and we talked about this in depth last week, whether you're doing a football team or a sports team or your marriage or your job or raising your kids, so much of it starts right between your eyes, right between your ears, I should say. And the expectation now, like I said, it just wafted off of it yesterday. We're going to blow this one too, and voila.
Every Husker fan can tell you at which point it was during the game and the games for the last 2 years. They can pinpoint the time where they felt, all right, we lost this game. And that's got to be the cultural shift. That's got to be the change. Right. I don't like going back to the 90s, so fine, I'm not going to. We'll go early 2000s, right? Nebraska fans still had faith, saying that if we were winning, we'll close it out. We'll finish. I had a discussion with a good buddy of mine. At this point, what's more important, putting together a game plan and being successful throughout that whole game plan, or just learning how to finish? What do you think?
Ooh, I gotta, you how many times have we in our career heard people say, end well, finish well. It doesn't matter where you start. You can screw up horribly. How many times have people been 42 points down, 48 points down, and come back from behind and win? I think you got to finish well.
Yeah.
Well, look at Wisconsin. How many times did they shoot themselves in the foot yesterday? Their penalties, they're awful this year in penalties. Over and over and over again, they shot themselves in the foot, but they know how to finish. The hardest thing to do in sports is learning how to finish. And they did it. And second half, it's kind of funny. Indiana and Rutgers were like, wow, Mickey Joseph, we're finally like figuring out how to adjust and get better in the second half. And then we kind of started treading backwards. Now we're in the second half and it's 3 and outs. Like you said, conservative. We just don't know how to finish.
Yeah. Nebraska doesn't know how to run the ball effectively right now. And that's the biggest thing. When Wisconsin has time of possession, almost 40 minutes.
Yeah.
They have 20 some more plays than Nebraska. Fourth quarter, when you're up, 11 points?
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Yep.
Yeah. It needs to be a 60-40 running, throwing base. But you have to be producing. Wisconsin averaged 5.5 yards on first down.
Shush.
So you're setting up your second down, 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5. I'll take that all day long.
Just run all day long.
Nebraska's issue was, if the ball didn't get snapped without bouncing back to Casey, because that reared its ugly head.
Mm-hmm.
And every time Nebraska had momentum, the first thing would happen would be that low snap.
Yep.
B, if it was a good snap, Casey had somebody on him within a second. And they weren't doing exotic blitzing or stunts. They were just manning up, eating their pancakes and pushing us back.
There was definitely no trick plays needed. You were right about the rushing. Nebraska had 65 total rushing yards. Any guess who the leading rusher was?
Yeah, I just pulled it up.
Your quarterback probably shouldn't be your leading rusher with 33 yards. 65 rushing yards versus Wisconsin's 235.
All 33 of those was improvised. It wasn't a play call.
Right.
He was running for his life.
Yeah, we don't want him to run.
Right.
He was running for his
out of
life.
necessity.
And I will say this. You have nothing to lose that game. You don't. Your offensive coordinator most likely is not going to be back next year. There's nothing to lose. There's nothing to win individually for him.
Right.
Right? Why the game? Why was there no trick plays?
Yeah.
Why was there no adaptation? We can get on Frost as much as we want to, but tell you, Frost as an OC, if we just sit back, right? Digress, get rid of all the nasty thoughts about everything off the field and whatnot, which is justifiably deserved. As an offensive coordinator, as an OC, he brought good things to the table.
Right.
What's going on now is, all right, let's just get down the season and move on.
You wonder if that's not a big chunk of it. And that goes back to finishing well. It doesn't have to be the game. It can be the season. There was still granted, you go to you go to Michigan, that's going to be tough. I mean, even though Illinois scared the pants off of them, but okay, maybe not that one, but man, win the games you have a chance to win. And this year there's been a lot of opportunities with games. There should be at least 2-3 more wins this year.
Easily. Well, 2 teams you said, Illinois, Michigan. They know how to finish. Michigan was on the ropes, but they came back and knew how to finish. TCU,
yeah,
good Lord, they were treading water the whole game. Knew how to finish, came back and did it. Wisconsin, unfortunately, knows how to finish and believes they can, to which they did. When they got the ball back with 6 minutes to go, there wasn't going to be a throw.
Right.
I mean, hats off to our pass defense. We're one of the top 10 in the nation this week because it gave up under 100 yards throwing.
Right.
and an interception.
Mhm.
But if you don't have to throw, why
Yeah.
would you? Like you just said, your average how many on first downs?
5.5.
Why would you throw?
Exactly.
You know, you got 2 more downs to make 4, 5 yards. Okay, I'll run that all day long. And man, on that last drive that Wisconsin had, they ran flat over Nebraska. It was, I'm like, you know what's going to be played. You know the call that's coming.
Yep.
You can't pick that up. It was sad. You were talking about the other games. The place I was at had those 3 games on: the Michigan game and the Nebraska game and the TCU game. And I was talking with my son. I said, and they were all, within minutes of each other, finishing it, each other. I said, all 3 potential upsets. I said, you watch this. I bet every one of them ends the way it's supposed to.
Mhm.
And sure as heck, every one of them ended the way. Although I think Michigan got a call that they shouldn't have. Did you happen to see that one? They said it was a complete pass. It was so clear.
Oh, yeah.
The nose of that football hit
Yeah.
the ground.
I
It
couldn't
was-
believe that.
I couldn't either.
They looked at that and I'm like, how do you not overturn that?
Right.
It was so obvious.
That was worst call I've probably seen this year.
I agree. It was bad.
It was really. And now, did it make a difference? I don't know. It was a field goal, but it was 8-10 yards
Yeah.
different. I mean, it might have.
They needed that though, because you got to have the Big Ten as one of the best.
Uh-huh.
And we are right now. You don't want the game of the century, the rematch from last year coming in where it's Michigan with 1 loss Michigan versus Ohio State.
Right.
You want the 2 Titans going at it. So I was okay with what happened there. We've been on the other side of that as well, as a lot of unfavorable calls. It's just part of the nature. I mean, when you are one of the best and you get the favoritism, it will show. But you
Right.
got to get up there first.
It's funny too. My son and I were just talking yesterday about like Tom Brady. They showed clips of him in his first couple years just getting smoked.
Yeah.
And now you sneeze on the guy as you go past him. Although it is kind of funny now that he's at Tampa Bay. He does take a few more shots than he did. He's got to be feeling that, and he's in his later age. But
So Wisconsin's done. Should have won. Got to move on. Iowa week now. The benefit for Iowa week is Nebraska can play the spoiler.
Yeah.
Iowa, for I don't know how many years it was, that was always a spoiler for Nebraska trying to get to a bowl game.
Mhm.
yeah,
Well, now Iowa wants to win the Big Ten West. If they win the Big Ten West, so help me God, that is going to be one of the worst Big Ten championship games I've ever seen. No offense to Iowa fans. I mean, your team is defensively, they're good,
yeah,
but it's going to be like a 50-10 game.
yeah.
So, Nebraska, let's just do their job. Let's pay it back. But it's got to start up front. It's got to start with the big boys. And if your offensive coordinator is not going to get creative and give you opportunities and do things that he hasn't done before, then it's got to be in the trenches. And there, I don't know how good I feel about it.
Boy, that was proof this week. I don't think Wisconsin's defense is as good as Iowa's defense. And like we just were talking with rushing yards, they shut Nebraska down.
Yep.
If Iowa watches the tape, if they play their game, and then being in Iowa, if it was here, that would help immensely. The sea of red that would come out, being there. I think we were talking about this before the show. I think this is Nebraska's best chance in a lot of years, but it's anything but a shoe-in.
Well, it's been Nebraska's best chance this year to especially take the Big Ten West.
Yes, it would have been.
And as far down as the other teams are in the Big Ten West right now, right? Nebraska is still below them, shows exactly where Nebraska is. But again, this is 4 years, 5 years in the making.
Yeah.
This didn't just happen overnight. If you're getting the same results on different years and different days, it's who you are.
Yeah. And sadly, like we were just talking, the attitude Nebraska's is down. And after this game was, oh sure, just another game. And I was on the uptick. I mean, even their offense is starting to click. Their quarterback actually ran one in. Did you have to see that? His quarterback sneak in for the touchdown. And actually, I'm not saying he's Heisman material, but he's a whole lot better than he was 5 games ago. And so we're at 2 different momentum skills entirely there, I think. So that's going to be a hurdle too.
Winning solves a lot of problems.
It certainly does.
Winning
Like we always say,
will
a sale cures anything, right?
solve a lot of problems. And as Nebraska fans, we're saying, all right, let's breathe next week because it's the last game of this forgettable season, and moving on for next year, and going to find out who is going to take over the ship, and we get to have lots of talks about that.
Right.
Transfer portal's coming. Early signings coming. So lots of good things on the horizon if the ship is righted by the right captain. Again, that is up to Trev Alberts to decide that. If you want to chime in, Honda Lincoln Hotline, 402-464-5685, or the Starter Heyman text line. You can let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Moving forward for Nebraska, what has got to be the first issue fixed for next year? Let me replace this. You bring in your coach, he brings in the staff. Who is the most important hire of this coaching staff for 2023?
Ooh, I'll pass on. with
Harrison, you go first.
Harrison.
Todd, you go there.
It's got to be a combination of an answer. Our defensive line and our offensive line coaches. You are never going to win games in the Big Ten consistently if you can't fix that. It's been the bane of us for so long, and it's ridiculous. It's the Big Ten football. Why we can't get that figured out, it blows my mind. So, not only guys that can coach, but guys that can recruit in that position as well. We have to find some sort of pipeline down south or wherever you get those players. I mean, a lot of them are going to be in the South. You know, some of those SEC guys are going to get offers from the SEC. You got to start kind of picking from their basket because it's just not cutting it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these are all pretty much veteran linemen for the most part, a lot of them, and it's just not cutting it.
Whenever Frost would do his recruiting, we were always so enamored with the wide receiver.
Yeah.
The Duck R guy, if he ever came to fruition, which never did. The quarterback, the running back. The group that he neglected the most, it was most baffling, was the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
You would have thought for sure we're bringing in 14, 15, 16 offensive linemen, but we have no depth, and it shows. Todd, what do we do next year to get better?
Well, yeah, that's a great point. You can't go through this state, as big as this state is, with the farm kids, the ranch hand kids. Nebraska's got a rodeo team, for Pete's sake. Grab one of the bull riders. There's the toughest human on the planet. That start in your own backyard. I mean, these kids grew up wanting to play here. I just can't believe that there's not, 6-8 kids out there in Nebraska somewhere that would give their soul practically to play here. I think you go into your coaching, obviously always as a head coach gets the spotlight, but how about the strength and conditioning coach, the nutrition coach?
Mm-hmm.
Again, that was what made Nebraska. And they were light years ahead of the other teams doing that. How would you get away from something that worked that well? Worked so well, we quit doing it, as we always say at work.
A couple players yesterday stated that they just got wore down in the fourth quarter because Wisconsin was just leaning on them.
Yeah.
Just leaning on them.
And it's not even like Wisconsin's the Wisconsin of years ago. I mean, it's not like they're a contender this year.
This is one of the worst Wisconsin teams there has been for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and for Nebraska fans, I'll tell you this right now, it's a good thing they won for this reason. Is I don't fully believe in Jim Leonard. I think that he's over his head. Yeah. He's going to make an amazing coordinator, but you want to put him at a coach, okay. Wisconsin might have a down 2, 3, 4 years, at which point Nebraska can gain some ground. But again, it's got to come down to the hire.
Yeah,
that's where it all comes down to. I agree 100%. I think with Nebraska, strength and conditioning is got to be the utmost and foremost number one responsibility of the new staff.
Yeah,
you've got to get the guys big because when Frost first came here, we slimmed the offensive linemen down a little bit, but made them move because we had wide gaps, right? He wanted to run kind of what he did at UCF, but thought he could implement power.
Right.
And he realized that was not effective. So now we're going to bring in guys 6'7" and taller, and that's it. 6'7" and taller, and that's it. How many offensive linemen have you known have been very successful in college were below 6'5", 6'4"?
Right.
I mean, they play with their heart. They play with momentum. They play with aggression.
Yeah.
Having a certain standard saying, I got to have this tall of a guy. Well, you got it. And you got them big. And you got them to be able to sit to stand, and they look big. They are big guys. But the problem is you work so hard to get them big, you forgot about agility. You forgot about lateral movement. You forgot about being an athlete and being quick. Because when you're seeing firing off the ball, you're seeing standing straight up. You're not seeing sidestep, try to hook a guy. You're not seeing great pulls. There was one play that I really didn't like too well yet, kind of got mad at. There was a pass out, I think it was either Trey or somebody, and we had two offensive linemen. We had Van Doe and Hickson out there. to lead the way. And they just get a hat on the guy, right?
Wow.
It was even. It wasn't uneven. It was 2-on-2. If they just get in front of them,
Right.
there's a lot of real estate to run. And for some reason, it looks like they just turned their shoulders. The Wisconsin guys went right through them, and that was it.
Yeah, real quick too. You were talking about the defensive line getting worn on. Here's Ty Robinson kind of talking about that Wisconsin run.
You know, you start to pick up on keys. You start to kind of understand the details of where what the linemen look like when they're during that play. So maybe you're able to cheat it. I know I was able to a few times today. But, you know, if that's the one play they keep gashing us, then we got to be smart on our end to know that's the play coming.
So he's just kind of opening it up there. Like they knew what was coming, like you were saying. Right. They have an idea, but they're just getting gashed. They can't stop it. Like they knew exactly what was coming down the lane every time.
Wisconsin lined up and said, hey, we're going to run this play. We're coming right here at this hole. I dare you to stop us. Yeah. And just kept going over and over. And like I said, that's where a lot of folks want Nebraska to be. They want to get in that situation. Yes, the head coach matters. But again, you have got to be dominant or at least above average on the offensive defensive line. If you do that, you're going to win a lot of games. You're going to be in games late. Then you can get creative. Then you can have fun with your offense.
Right.
Opens
up the rest of your playbook.
Oh, big time.
Harrison had a great point too. We bring somebody in, nothing against coaching staff today, but we bring somebody in from outside that maybe does have an in somewhere else. How did Iowa get so good when they got Hayden Fry? He brought in kids from Texas like crazy, and then even opened up somehow like a New York, New Jersey event. I mean, Iowa was getting kids that couldn't find Iowa on a map. You know, can you imagine growing up in Southern Texas? The coldest it ever got was like 45. You're playing Thanksgiving against Nebraska, you know, and it's 45 below. So that was, I think Harrison nailed it there too. Is just get brand new fields of recruiting that have never been open or haven't been open in a long, long time.
Nebraska's made headway in one factor right now, and that is Mickey is getting these guys to transform, right? I don't like to say abusive relationship, but there's times where there's relationships where it's not, you know, physical, but it's mental abuse and mental abuse and mental. And you are told you're something, but you don't believe it. And you're told you're something again, you don't believe it. And then you're told you're something again. Now you start to believe it. 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 And you're just beaten and broke down mentally. Right. And what Mickey's done, that's just been phenomenal for this team. And I hope, you know, this is part of the candidacy for him, if he's going to be the guy, is altering that mindset of we're not average. We're not going to lose these close games. Yes, the results are not there, like we said, but you have got to do a complete overhaul in the mindset of the players, of the staff, of the administration, just to believe that we are Nebraska, that we are the Big Red, and that we can right this ship. Because whoever takes over next year, you're going to deal with a bunch of fragile minds.
Oh, yeah.
And the amazing thing that Mickey's done that not a lot of people talk about is just the psyche of this team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just the mental toughness now they're starting to get. You're hearing Ty Robinson say, look, they told us what they're going to do. We couldn't stop it, right?
Yeah.
But with Mickey, with the transformation in the next couple of years, you're not going to hear that. You really are not. And like I said, that's where I've been just most impressed, is coming from, you know, almost like a mental abusive relationship, you know, believing that they're not good enough. Now these players are starting to believe when wins happen, that's when the ultimate mind shift happens. And that's why, again, the Iowa game is so important. Mickey's been instilling in them, hey, you guys are good. You got to believe in yourself. You got to do this. You can do it, right? I believe in you. I love you. If they can get out there and beat Iowa, and then take that on to the next year, that would be a huge
momentum roll.
For that whoever comes in here, because now you have players that believe. Now you have players that want to get things done.
And before we wrap it up here on this first segment, I do want to get to the text line. Milkman says Nebraska needs to recruit better and don't let the kids leave. Kind of another point in NIL era today. You want to keep them here so they can develop.
That's a great point. Yeah, we hadn't touched on that, but yeah,
it's very hard though. It's very hard to keep players here. That's the thing. You know, when the new coach comes in, players are going to go where the money's at. Players are going to go where the notoriety is. Players are going to go and do what they want to do.
Well, everybody wants to win.
Well, like I said, if you can develop a guy for 3 or 4 years and then let him play, that's great. Unfortunately, in today's college football, that doesn't happen because if the guy doesn't play within the first 2 years, he's going to leave. I'm going to go somewhere else.
Yep.
Yeah, excellent question there, Milkman. Thank you very much. If you guys want to call in, 402-464-5685 on our Starter Heyman text line is open as well. Todd, how can they find us on Facebook?
They can find us at American Senior Benefits Lincoln. They can also give us a call, 402-413-9846.
We will be right back after this.
You know, the year has been a great year for Aspen Builders. We have had many repeat customers, and we worked with a lot of new people building their dream home.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, and they've built neighborhoods in and around Lincoln for over 25 years.
It's amazing when you go through the building process. Okay, what do I need in this home? I need the 4 bedrooms. I need the walkout basement, or I need the big yard. It's fun to find that perfect lot, design the home, get everything that we need, and then we add those want things. We add the gourmet kitchen. We add the big walk-in pantry. What we try to do is balance a budget with things that you really need in the home. Get items included in this home that you won't find just in any home anymore. So in the end, you've got the perfect place.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket. Every Saturday morning now in our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Okay, kids, Dad's going to teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
I grew up hearing that women are bad with money, but like many of you, I spent years paying bills, managing checking accounts, and taking care of my family. So turns out women are pretty good with money after all. And now I'm taking control of my financial future by saving for retirement. It's never too late to start, and there's a great website to help you. Check out WeSaySaveIt.org and jumpstart your retirement savings on your budget and your timeline. That's WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Veterans, do you know what local, state, and federal benefits and services you're eligible to receive? Do you want help navigating the application or appeals process? Speak to your county veteran service officer or the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs State Service Office to see what's available to you and your family. You've served our country, now let us serve you. Visit veterans.nebraska.gov today. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
Papa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse?
Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffro.
He was riding old Betsy the Stallion, tip-tapping away at his telegraph, when blam! Ran right into the side of the saloon. Well, if Jeffro can't do it, neither should you. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear because I'm grilling up dinner. You get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Back to the Family Hour. Brought to you by American Senior Benefits. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to the American Senior Benefits Family Hour. Alongside Todd Riley, I am Jay Stoll. Harrison is man in the machine. Getting into it, Todd, attitudes. Attitude is so important. Attitude is massive for me because you wake up controlling how that's going to be every single day. Yeah. You are in control of what happens. You are in control if you let somebody make you feel bad about yourself. You're in control if you let somebody make you feel good about yourself. You're in control if you're angry because you turn on the news first thing in the morning, which you should never, ever do. Right. Because if you're trying to stay positive, that just doesn't work. But attitude is massive. So with Nebraska football, right, getting the right attitude in place is what's going on right now with Mickey Joseph. And, everybody has their vote on coaches. Everybody has their say who they want to do, and that's their opinion. That's the greatest thing. Get somebody in here that's going to instill the right attitude, the right work ethic. This week we had really good week. We had a couple new hires came in. They seem to have the right attitude. Why is attitude so important in what we do?
We always say attitude determines altitude. And saying all of the agents have heard me say 1.5 million times, there's two things in this career that you can control. You can't control people not being home. You can't control people changing their mind. You can't control people saying no always, but you can control your activity and your attitude. And you have to have a short memory. If you watch Ted Lasso, he said, be a goldfish. He has like a 1.3 second memory or something like that. Attitude determines altitude. And if you just think you can, the book 7 Habits of Effective People, he talks about that, having what he calls an inside out mentality instead of what happens out there. Like you said, I never watch the news. Holy smokes. That's a ticket for disaster. My wife's kind of a news junkie and she'll be talking about it. I go, I didn't know we knew about that. But she's gotten much better at it. Her attitude's good. But if you allow, it's easy to do. It's the default, I'm afraid, of humans is to let the outside in determine your attitude. And again, we're talking about Nebraska football. That's a perfect example. That bar or restaurant I was at, that was what was expected. Was here's another loss we're going to have. They're going to march down the field on us, and we're toast. And voila, guess what happened? But on an inside out attitude, you say, okay, somebody cuts you off in traffic, and you can get mad at that, but you can't do anything about that. So instead of, and boy, I have to work on this in traffic. By the way, folks, a little lesson for everyone in Nebraska: the left lane is the fast lane. If you are going slow in the left lane, please move to the right.
And the finger that waves at you is the number one. You're just letting them know that you're pointing to heavens, right?
There's my public service announcement of the day. The left lane is the fast lane, but somebody cuts you off in traffic. Nothing you can do about that other than how you react to it. In sales, you're going to hear more no's than you are yeses. That's just the nature of this game. That's why it pays so well. We always joke if everybody could do it, it wouldn't pay so well. But if you can just say, okay, nothing I can do about that, but I can sure as heck do something about the next one.
Yep.
And whether that's football with the next play, not just the next game, the next play. Okay, you got burnt on that play. Like Harrison was saying from the clip that he played.
With Ty Robinson.
Yeah, they knew what was coming. And okay, so I know what's coming. I'll do something about it this next time. Attitude, and we work very, very hard in our office in Lincoln and Kearney, our offices in Lincoln and Kearney, to install a fantastic attitude, because it again, it's sales. There's more no's than yeses. Man, to have a positive environment for our people to come back to and laugh and joke and get help from other people, I think that's one of the reasons that make us fantastic. And we just had a record-breaking month last month. We're on target to do it again this month. So much of that comes from attitude.
Now, baseball, you fail more than you succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You fail more than you succeed in baseball, yet so many people play it. So many people love it. Why would they want to be involved in a sport they fail more than succeed in, but keep coming back? What's that mindset?
That's actually a great analogy. Yeah. If you get up to the plate and hit, 3 out of 10 times, you're like, hey, this guy's got a heck of a year going. But then how much do baseball players make? Well, it's the same here. You're right. 3 out of 10 times. So, and then hopefully you'll get better at that. Hopefully you'll get to about 3 and 9, 3 and 8. But we'll train you on that. But it's just like the batter. He'll say, "Okay, man, I'm due. I'm due." That's the same with this. The last couple 3 people I talked to, I couldn't help them. I am way due for this next one. You've heard me tell this story. I was training a new person. This was years ago. And I normally get one person involved for about every 2 to 3 people that I see. I'm able to help. I'd gone like a dozen people, 50, I think it was 14 people in a row that I hadn't been able to help. And talk about practicing what you preach. I was down about it. And this brand new agent hops in the car and he's like, "Hey man, how's your week been going?" And I said, "Oh, geez, man, I'm 14 people without getting anybody involved in this." And a big old smile jumped on his face. And he said, "Man, we're going to have a great day today. You're overdue." And I think we got 6 people involved in something that day.
Mindset.
All of it.
Mindset. That's it. If you put in your mind you're going to fail, if you put in your mind that this is going to be difficult, if you put in your mind, I can't do it, you're going to be miserable. Right. It's the same thing for Nebraska football, and moving on to other sports. Women's sports, though, are carrying the flag for Nebraska, so they're doing all right.
Yeah, it's been and that's been the steady horse for a change.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun to watch. They have an exciting team to watch.
Now,
teams
again, mindset. This is the busy time of the year where a lot of people that are working with us right now and for us, they're getting exhausted. Just because they're just helping out so many people, getting in front of so many people. What do you tell somebody who comes into this, and let's say they grind hard for first 2 months, 3 months? How do you help recharge the battery? What does that?
And that's a good point, and that's a good question. Because we all do. We all have downtimes, and it seems like it's on 6-month cycles. My son works with us, and well, actually now both my sons work with us, which is pretty cool. But he came up to me Friday in the office. He goes, "Daddy, I'm having a tough time," and I said, "It's your 6-month slump." And he says, "What do you mean?" And it just, for whatever reason, every 6 months, it's when people have chargebacks, when people are in a slump, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, that's right," and went off feeling 100% better because he knows it's about done. That goes back to that really incredible team that we have at our offices in Lincoln and Kearney, all of our offices for that matter. But to have a soft landing spot, as my wife calls it, to have a place where you can go and get recharged and you can ask questions. I feel for the people that are their own, and a lot of insurance is this way. They're their own entity. They sit out there. Maybe they have a group me they can go on. Maybe they have a video they can watch. And that's about it. We have 35 people that even a brand new agent can ask questions of. People making $150,000, $200,000 a year, writing enormous amounts of business. A brand new person can go up to them and say, Ryan, that was a guest here on our show. Hey, Ryan, I got this question. Or ask you, Jay, that have done so darn well at this. And you take your time to help them. And any of us do that. And if you'd like to be part of that, if you'd like to be part of a fantastic team and make a six-figure income your third, fourth year, please either look at us, American Senior Benefits Lincoln on Facebook, or give Joyce Ann a call at 402-413-9846. We really live our tagline of putting people back in the people business, helping our agents, help other people, help Nebraskans. It's what's called the family hour, because we really are a family.
Absolutely. I had reality this last week. My dad fell under the weather, and so he is a distributor for Nebraska made sauces. So he drives a van, takes sauces and cases to stores all over Nebraska. And I did that for him this week. And I used to do it, and I used to believe that, unfortunately, I was the peon. Unfortunately, like that's what I knew when I used to help him, and I see him do it, and I love him to death. But, I see, how that is and how people treat other people like they're below them. And I was so excited. And I realized that on Monday, and I was so excited to come back doing this, because if you come to American Senior Benefits, you are going to be the expert. You are not the peon. When you go into a house to talk to somebody, you talk to somebody on the phone, you are the expert. We will teach you to be the expert. You're not going to be, like I said, someone way down below or a peon or something, right, make you feel bad about yourself, or there's someone way above you. You are the man, you are the woman. And that's what I really love about this, is the fact that there's no one that can talk down to me. There's no one that can tell me, hey, wait behind the milk guy. I'll get to you when I get to you. Right. Wait behind the bread guy. I'll get to you, whenever I can. That's the one thing. And, I realized that this week, and when it came back to it, I was like, man, this is another one of the reasons I didn't even think about it with this career. You're not the small man on the totem pole. We teach you to be the big man up top, and we teach you that right from the jump.
That's a great point. And I know there are people, you start at the bottom. Well, okay, yeah. But the bottom here at American Senior Benefits is just training. It's not you make less. It's not that you do less. It's not that you know less eventually. It's just you're starting to train, and that's it. You are your own business. You're in business for yourself, but not by yourself, as we always say. And our people, because the amazing trainers that we have, like you, Jay, like Scott that was on the show, like Ryan that was on the show, and Jason, many more, our trainers are top notch, and our people, literally 3 months in the business, know more than most people in this industry. They've been doing it 3 and 4 years. It's crazy.
And that's what we like to do. I mean, we want you to get out and be successful and be independent and be on your own. And like I said, let the peacock fly. Right. Let them go. So that's what's fun to see is just to start the development, and then when it starts to click. Yes. And like I said, I just got into the training here in the short term now so far, and just seeing a couple of my guys, we're starting to click now, is really, really neat. So
isn't that fun?
That's always enjoyable. Todd, if someone wants to talk to us, someone wants to talk to you, how can they do that?
They want to talk product, 402-614-9292. They'd love to be part of our amazing team. Talk to Joyce Ann at 402-413-9846, or again on Facebook, American Senior Benefits Lincoln.
Now, part of our team and what we got coming up, just as an office, fun stuff coming up. What do we got coming up? We just got done going to Chances Are for steak with the office.
Yes.
What else we got coming up in the rest of the year?
Well, and that's exactly right, because we hit our first $1 million and submitted in one single month, which is phenomenal. When I got here 3.5 years ago, we were the entire team Midwest wasn't always doing that. So huge hurdle, and they, to compliment us, they took us and our spouses out to Chances Are, New York, had a great dinner. If we do it again this month, we're actually going out for steak. We're sure not quite sure yet if it's Misty's or if it's Casa Bovino. We're not sure, but again, you and your guest get to go. We've got a contest. When if we hit a certain level during this what's called annual election period, we get a night in a hotel down the Haymarket and dinner out with our guests. So we're always having something fun going.
Christmas party coming up in North Bend
Right.
as well. So yeah, a lot of great things coming up here. After we come back from this, we're going to get into a product. We're going to get into Medicare. We're going to let people know what's going on right back here on the American Senior Benefits Family Hour.
How is your job to school? Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
A lot of work goes into making Nebraska, Nebraska. Keeping it green. Helping it thrive. Making it fun. Everything that goes into caring for our outdoors, from waters to wildlife, plays a big role in making Nebraska home. Learn how we help conserve our state's natural resources at OutdoorNebraska.org.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is how we do every day. We be grinding, and if you wanna come and text us,
If you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music,
This is Mommy's jam.
then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Are you a veteran looking for a new companion animal? A dog, a cat, or maybe something else? The Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs Vets Get Pets program can cover up to $350 of your pet adoption fees. Visit veterans.nebraska.gov/vetsgetpets to learn more about program requirements and how to apply. Want to help support the program? Get your Vets Get Pets specialty license plates from the Nebraska DMV. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
A smoke-free environment is the only way to fully protect from the dangers of secondhand smoke. That's why smoke-free policies are so important to me. Whether it's in my car, apartment building, or when I'm dining outdoors, there's no place for secondhand smoke or e-cigarette aerosol. Breathe easier knowing the facts. Visit smokefree.ne.gov. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer.
In response to attacks against Asian Americans, Maddie Park raised over $250,000 to donate cab rides to the Asian community.
There is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
Support the Asian community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Think about what you just said. So it's totally reliant on three-pointers going in. What kind of program is that?
They shoot a lot of them. They shot 27.
What kind of program are you if that's what it is?
Nebraska's not a very good program. That's very evident.
What kind of program says we have to hit our threes? That's just a crapshoot team. Then that's all that is.
What is Nebraska? Aren't they a crapshoot team?
Then that's all that is.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
My name is Rebecca. I struggled with depression for years. I also smoked. That was my world. Finally, I realized that smoking wasn't helping me. It was making my life worse. So I took control and I quit. Now I'm able to run again and take walks with my grandkids. My tip is there's another world out there, and it's a beautiful place to be.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Turning my pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation.
In August 2020, after the death of George Floyd, Bridget Floyd and other family members established the George Floyd Memorial Foundation in support of the Black community.
It's going to take more than just us as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to make a change.
Fight for racial justice for the Black community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Back to the Family Hour. Brought to you by American Senior Benefits on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Thank you for waking up and joining us on Sunday here on the American Senior Benefits Family Hour. Alongside Todd Riley, I am Jay Stoll. Harrison's doing an amazing job behind the scenes, making sure it all goes smoothly. Todd, we got 5 minutes. We're going to wrap this up here. We got AEP. We got Medicare. We're going to get into it next week. We're going to get into it massively next week. So as far as something to give the folks, something to think about, any nuggets, parting ways that they need to know, what should that be?
Well, this is the time of year to give it a go. And I get it. Gosh darn, we hear from our clients that they're getting 30, 40 phone calls a day, and they don't know if they're from Nebraska. They don't know if they're from, another country. And I know the reaction is to just, the knee-jerk reaction is to just hang up. And I get that. But we're right here in Lincoln. We're right here in Kearney. We're right here in Omaha. Give us a call. Let us give you a review of it. Now is a great time to look at your drug plan. Those things can change dramatically year to year. And it's based on your drugs and the pharmacy you go to. Just give us a call or go on, again, American Senior Benefits Lincoln, and ask us to come out. As we always say, if we can't help you, we're sure not going to hurt you.
What percentage of people do you think right now listening, and just percentage of people in Nebraska have Medicare Advantage plans?
We did hear an exact figure that I don't remember what it was. Do you remember the exact?
What percentage would you think, just give or take?
Wasn't it like 30%, something like that? 35?
For Advantage?
Yeah.
I think it'd be a bit higher, especially the last couple of years.
Nationwide, it is. Unfortunately, a good chunk of Western Nebraska, this is just the first year or two they've had it.
Right.
I bet if you go Kearney East, I bet it's 55, 60% now.
And the nice thing that we do as well, a lot of folks don't realize this, is they'll sign up for Advantage plans on the phone, which is great. Like I said, there's no problem with those plans. Just make sure it's the right one for you.
Right.
But unfortunately, a lot of them aren't. What benefit do we bring starting January 1st if someone does sign up for Medicare Advantage? How can we help them out?
That is a super, super point, Jay. If you did go over the phone and maybe your doctors, you find out January 1st are not in the network, you find out a couple of your drugs are not covered, because unfortunately that happens every single year. Somebody took it over the phone and they find that out. Give us a call. You got from January, February that you can change your mind. We can get you back to where you were. We can get you back to something different. Your idea was good, just maybe the wrong product or the wrong company. We're an independent, so we've got hundreds of companies to choose from. We don't have them all, but we have darn close. Give us a call. We can put you back on it too.
And if you live in Lincoln, our office is on 16th and Old Cheney.
Yeah.
I was really busy last year by doing this. I have a lot of people just want to stop in the office, bring their plan. This is what I got. What do you think, Jay? It takes 5 minutes.
Right.
It doesn't cost you a thing, or $0 for consultation, but I can look at it and say, yep, you're good to go for 2023. Or I can say, this might be a better option. If somebody help you, you can go talk to them about that as well. But we can just do a good review and a good analysis and let them know for the month or for a year of 2023 if they're in the right product. So we don't have to go to their house if they don't want to.
Right.
They can always come to see us. We welcome them.
Great point. And that's exactly right. If you took something over the phone, guess how that's going to be serviced? Guess what's going to happen when you have a claim that for whatever the doctor screws it up, Medicare screws it up, your company screws it up. You're on an 800 number, pressing 1 and pressing 2. Maybe you're sicker than a dog. Maybe your kids are trying to help. It's a whole lot easier to give a Jay a call, to give a Ryan a call, to give a Todd a call than an 800 number. And we always say we come with the program. Once they take something with us, we jokingly say we work for them now, because they do have a real person that they know by name and by face to help them.
And a lot of the situations we run into, unfortunately, are widows.
Yeah.
And their spouse made all the decisions and held everything intact and did a great job. Nice lady I met this week was kind of the same situation. Husband took care of everything. Unfortunately, he passed away. She has no idea about this. So just to go in there and just see her fear and anxiety, knowing that she has to take this over and has no idea what it's about. And then how gracious she was after we got done talking. Not only did we make sure that she was in the right plan, because her husband did have the right plan. And I said, we're not going to change a thing. You're in a good spot right now. But how grateful she was just being educated and learning about this. So like I said, if we can't help you, we're not going to hurt you. We'll educate you. We'll make sure you're left in a better spot than you were.
A lady here in Lincoln that I helped out, she had a plan with the company. Everything was fine with it, except her dentist, of all things, stopped taking that particular plan. Well, I stopped out. It took 5 minutes. We kept her with the same company, just a different plan within that company that her dentist did take. Sometimes it's real simple, but of course they don't know that. That's not what they do for a living. You know, I don't tell the car mechanic how to change my brakes. I can't expect people to know what we know. Just give us a call. Let us help you.
Vikings, who they got this week?
The Cowboys.
Bills taking on Detroit. Harrison, who's your team?
We got the Bears.
We got the Bears.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this American Senior Benefits Family Hour. Todd Riley, Jay Stoll, Harrison. We will see you
Happy
next
Thanksgiving,
weekend.
everybody.
Have a great Thanksgiving.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad.